Morning. So I'm in my backyard. It's early in the morning, and I thought I would make a quick video. Hopefully, it's not too long, and show you guys some of the fruit I got growing in my backyard, and show you some of my fruit trees, and just kind of take a look and see what we got, what kind of fruits that we got going on. So I'll start here, and then I'll just make my way through the garden. So to start off, this is a new tree I got in the ground. It's a loquat, and it's just went in the ground, I think like a few months ago, like a month or two ago. We are in May, so like a month or two ago. We're in May, so this is what my yard looks like in spring. This is the champagne loquat. I have one other loquat that I've been growing for a few years from seed. It's a lot bigger, but yeah, I'm excited. I love loquats, one of my favorite fruits. And then here is what my lemon guava looks like after going through winter. It lost all its leaves and it's coming back. It's a little cold sensitive. I did have an avocado tree there that I was gonna try and grow. I've tried avocados before. My zone is not ideal for growing avocados, so if avocado is just like really hard to grow. I'm in zone 8B. They don't really want to grow here, so in order for me to grow avocados, I have to do a lot of protection and a lot of work to keep them from dying in the winter, because we get pretty cold, colder than avocados like it, and they kind of so I lost it. It died, and I put a tomato so that I would grow something. So it's a cherry tomato. I think it's a chocolate something cherry tomato. But I lost an avocado tree. I've now lost two or three avocado trees. But yeah, you can't always get everything to grow. I have successes and failures too. Here's another avocado. It was a Mexican variety, like a Mexicola or something like that. I forgot the variety, but it did die as well. I put them in the ground too early. I think I put them in the ground in February, thinking that we weren't going to get any more freezes, and we ended up getting a late freeze. I think it got down to like 18 degrees for like a few hours for like 2 days, and it killed both my avocado trees that I was going to try and grow and protect and like try to get them through the winters. But it took them both. But this one started to re-sprout from the root, so I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, because it's basically root stock. It just sent some shoots from the root stock, and the scion, the variety up top, I don't know if you can see, died. So I was hoping that we would get some regrowth above the graft point, but I don't think that's gonna happen. So I need to decide what I was gonna do with what I'm gonna do with this one. That one over there, where I have the tomato growing, it was the same type of setup. I had this for shade and some cold protection, and that one just died completely. I didn't get any regrowth, not even from the rootstock. So I decided I didn't want to waste that space, and now I'm growing a tomato. But that's what's happening. I think I'm done with avocados. I think they're just way too hard. My climate, I'm in the desert, in the high desert. It's just, we get really hot. They don't like, so you basically have to protect them from the extreme heat and the cold, both. Like it's a lot of work. But I do love avocados, so I keep trying. But anyways, this is my pomegranate tree. This is what it looks like right now. I've been working hard to try to like control this Bermuda. So right at the base of the trees, where it gets a lot of water because I have to water the trees, the Bermuda grass is extremely invasive and super hard to get rid of. So it just starts to grow right around the base, and I need to clear that up. I have to clear this little section. I've done all the other trees except for this palm. This is the wonderful pomegranate, so I have to clean that up, get it tidy, and then I have to do a little bit underneath my peach tree. And then I'm pretty much done. I've done all the other trees, all down and to the side. So I have 2 more to clean up, but it's really hard because it sends runners above ground and below ground. So it's hard to completely get rid of it, but I need to stay on top of it to keep it from getting out of control. So I have some work to do. But this is the palm, and it's starting to bloom. I think we have a palm fruit already set here, and but it's just starting to put out some blooms. Some of them, I guess that one's a little bit early. Let me show you some of the other blooms. Really pretty. So we're gonna get some fruit on this pomegranate. Let me show you. Oops. The sun's see, so I gotta clean this area, but this is what it looks like. And then so the palm has fruit. We got some fruit on this. It normally I've had a year or 2 where it didn't produce, but most of the time it's pretty reliable. Then we have the peach tree. Now the peach tree, I don't know what's gonna happen with the peach tree. Got to do a little cleaning, but I don't know what's gonna happen with the peach tree because I did a lot of thinning, a lot of pruning. We do have fruit. And this is plenty. I took tons of fruit off. It always wants to set fruit really, really heavy, but we got fruit. Now there's something going on with this tree. I got the 3-in-1, IV organic, like insect protectant and I got it all, I got it on the trunk and some of the branches. I have some sort of burrowing insect, and like I started to see all these little holes, and I had some dieback on some of the limbs, so this tree was struggling. So I'm doing my best. I did a dormant spray like right before spring, and we do have a lot of fruit. But this is one of my favorite trees. It was almost like it never gave me any problems until one of those little bugs found it. I don't know, I haven't identified the actual bug, but it's some sort of burrowing insect. I had some, so I got rid of all the dead branches because I did have some dieback on it. It happened in this like late summer, like after I harvested the peaches, and then in like the fall you would start to notice a lot of dead branches. So I got rid of all the dead stuff and all of the disease stuff and anything I found, the holes. I didn't want to completely like cut off the whole entire canopy, so I just got rid of what I could. I did protect it with that whitewash. The insects are supposed to stay off, and I'm doing my best to try to get this tree not to die. It looks wonderful right now. It does have fruit. It is one of my favorite trees. The fruit is really tasty. But yeah, we have enough. I left very few because I mostly wanted the tree to focus its energy on growing and healing and not so much on like fruit production, but still, like, we still have a lot of fruit, so we'll get a nice little harvest. from this tree. This tree's already maybe 9-10 years old. I'll show you what the tree looks like, the whole tree. So yeah, it was a lot bigger. So you can see the canopy smaller and tighter. Took some big limbs off. I did a lot of pruning on that. And then here we have the citrus tree, the sudachi. I don't know if we have any fruit on it, but over the winter, first winter in the ground, it did suffer some cold damage. Here we have a bloom. This is the sudachi hybrid. It's supposed to be a cold hardy variety, but we did suffer. It did have like an inch or two of dieback here and there, not on the whole tree, but in certain limbs, and like an inch of dieback. And it did have some damage on some of these bigger stems. You can see here, like splitting. Hopefully that just heals over. But it did make it through the winter unprotected, and we did get down to 19 degrees, 18 degrees for a few nights. So, but it came back. It's here. It survived, and it's put on some new growth, and it's got some nice new foliage, and it's surviving unprotected. There it is. It's tiny. I really wanted to have like a very bushy shape so that it's more protected for when we do have those crazy winters. They're usually pretty mild here, but we do have some cold snaps and stuff. So here we have my plum tree. It's smaller, did some pruning. It was getting really tall and big, and I was finding it hard to harvest the fruit without a ladder, so I had to bring the height down. But it's got a heavy fruit set. Very heavy fruit set. Now, I have not done any thinning, but normally, from my experience, this tree does self-thinning. So it normally drops a lot of the fruit. So it's self-thinning. I never thin it. And then last year was really bad. So I'm hoping for a good year. The year before that was a good year. It was the very first year I got a nice harvest of plums. But like, you can see this is gonna fall. See, so it does self-thin. But yeah, we got a heavy fruit set. But you can see here, these are gonna fall. Like this one, it's yellow, it's not growing. So it's self-thinning. But that's my Santa Rosa plum. I'm hoping for a good year. I've only had one good year where I got a nice crop of plums. Yeah, and it's the same. It's been in the ground about a lot of my oldest trees have been in the ground for about 9 years. I'm thinking 9, 10. But I've had 1 year where I had a nice fruit set. So we'll see what happens this year. It's looking very promising because it's like loaded with plums. Look at this branch right here. Oops. It's very tasty, this variety. If I can just get it to hold on to its fruit and mature them, because that's not always the case. Here's the trunk. So, do you see how some of these are getting yellow and drop, and you just kind of flick them, they just fall. So once the winds come through here, it's just the tree's way of self-thinning, because it's way too loaded with fruit. This one's weird shape, but yeah, look at this branch. It's just got so many, they almost look like grapes. So that's the Santa Rosa. And then here along my porch, I have citrus. So this is my, we have fruit set on here. Let me see. You can see the little fruits on here. The Owari Satsuma. And you can see all these little fruits. So we have mandarins. It looks like it has a lot. It did set a lot of fruit, but again, it does drop throughout the season. So we'll see what it ends up with. Here we have the Calamandin. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but it's got blooms. They smell really good. All the kids are walking to school, so my dogs are gonna bark. I'm sorry. We do have little tiny fruits. Little tiny fruits. And we have, it's blooming. We have, here is my dogs and my dogs run. This is the Jujube, looking beautiful. The canopy is looking really nice. I wanted that big umbrella type of shape to it. So it's got a lot, it's really branching off. It's got a lot of branches. That's the only tree that my dogs have access to. It's in their run. I mean, the other ones are on the outside. So yeah, and these are just little desert willows. So it's just a nice little flowering, like small tree bush. It looks like it's setting blooms. It's a really pretty, like lavender burgundy color. It's about to bloom. And here's the Jujube. Oh. And then there we have the apricot. Give you guys a shot of the tree. There's that fence is about 4 feet, the dog run, and then the block wall is about 6 feet. So that's how big the tree is. Last year I didn't have any apricots because I pruned the tree too much. But this year we have a nice fruit set. It's covered in apricots. Covered in apricots. I did thinning, actually a pretty heavy thinning, but that just kind of gives you an idea of how much fruit this was holding on to. It's got so much, lots and lots and lots of fruit. It also has a nice shape going on. And then I'll back up. So we have fruit. So it's gonna be a good year, I think, for the backyard trees, fruit trees. It seems like almost all of them are holding on to the some fruit, so I should have a nice harvest. But yeah, so let's see. Here we have a kumquat, Nagami kumquat. it suffered a little bit in the winter, so it's starting to like branch out and regrow a lot of its foliage, but no blooms yet. I don't know if it's gonna bloom or if it's just gonna focus on growing, recovering from winter. It did have a little bit of dieback, but it was unprotected out in the yard. I just moved it to the porch. So yeah, that's the Nagami Kumquat. And then here we have the blood orange, the Moro blood orange. We do have some little oranges already set, a few blooms. Last year we got about 4, and I didn't film it, about 4 or 5 oranges, and we picked them a lot earlier, and they were delicious. I've had fruit 1 or 2 years before, like the previous year. We did have fruit, and it wasn't tasty. It was very watery. But we picked it in April, and we didn't like the flavor. The flavor was off. It was like a watery raspberry flavor. But then we harvested the 4 oranges in like early fall, so like in October, November. Was it October, November, or December? So a lot earlier, several months earlier, and the fruit was delicious. Perfect, sweet, tart, just delicious, amazing, like just what it's supposed to taste like. So I figured the problem was my harvesting time. Like, I think I left the fruit on the tree way too long. So yeah, so this is the blood orange, the Moro blood orange. And I just have them lining my porch. It's 4 of them in containers, 2 in the ground. Here's the apricot, and then down here is the other one I have in the ground. It's the yuzu, and this one did have some cold damage, but it was in the ground, unprotected, 18 degrees, a few nights, unprotected, and it's alive and it's thriving. It did have some cold damage. You can see here where it has a little bit of splitting. I did have about an inch here and there, same as the other one, of top dieback. So I got rid of that, and it's put out new growth since. And so yeah, I'm excited to have this growing. See, the fence is 4 feet, so you can get an idea of how big it is. So it's about 2 feet tall, maybe. I want it nice and bushy. So for the first time, in this corner here, we have the what is it? The Fuyu Persimmon, looking beautiful. I love the color of the Fuyu Persimmon when it starts in spring, when it just starts to leaf out and it has all new leaves. It's like a neon green, you know, compared to this darker green of the apricot. Also the Jujube has that same neon green early in the springtime. See, the other ones are darker. The foliage is just darker. There's the palm. See, the plum and the peach are darker, but we got this beautiful neon green on the Fuyu, and the Jujube. But it's really, it'll get deep. It'll get dark when the leaves get older. It'll get really dark and glossy. But right now, at this time of the season, they're like a pretty neon green because it just leafed out. So in this corner we have the Fuyu, and the apple tree. This one's been in the ground. I think it's going on its third year, second or third year, and we finally have apples. So let me show you a close-up of the Fuyu. We have blooms. So for the very first time, we had persimmons last fall. And that was wonderful. This one took a long time to come into production, at about 5-6 years maybe. So I'm hoping for another good year. I'm hoping for another harvest. We'll see if it'll alternate or if it'll just continue to produce reliably every year. I'm trying to find you a shot of the blooms. So there's the flower of the Fuyu Persimmon, and if those get pollinated, they'll grow into little persimmons. This is the Fuyu variety. It's really pretty. I like to sit here under the tree because it's just so pretty. So let me show you this. I was protecting. It's a guava. It's a pink tropical guava. It's really hard to grow here. Tropical guavas in my area. The cold did damage it. So I don't know. It's alive, so I'm thinking it's gonna start to regrow. But it's growing like little. You can see little new growth here and here, and then definitely down here at the bottom. I did protect it. I thought it was going to be sufficient protection just to put it in the porch by the wall, but no. I guess they're a lot cold. I guess they're a lot more cold sensitive than I realized. But it's alive, so I'll see what I'll do next year. Maybe I'll put it in the garage. Here's my Manzanilla Olive, looking beautiful. Now all of these, the Bermuda was just crazy. I've cleaned all of this, but you can see I just cleaned it like a few weeks ago and it's already starting to come back. So you really have to stay on top of it. I hate the Bermuda. Bermuda grass is so invasive. It's my fault because I actually planted the seed because I wanted a lawn. So I had a lawn for a few years, and when I no longer wanted the lawn, the Bermuda just kind of wants to stick around. But it needs water, so it grows around the base of the trees. But see, it's clean here. I just got to clean that other corner. But this is the Manzanilla Olive. Second year maybe? I think it's the second year. No olives yet, but it's really pretty. I think olive trees are really pretty. And I do love olives. So let me show you guys the apple. I pruned it. And I'll give you a close-up. There's the apple tree, and then apples. We got apples. We have lots and lots of apples. This is the Arkansas. I think it's the Arkansas Black variety. I always forget. I need labels on my trees. There's apples, little baby apples. Apples everywhere. There's apples everywhere. So let's see. So I hope it holds on to them. I don't know what to expect because it's my first, it's the first year that it's setting fruit. So I don't know if it's gonna drop them, if it's going to hold on to everything. So we'll see. We'll know sometime. It's a late variety, so sometime in the fall, like late fall maybe. And we'll see what we get, what kind of harvest we get. But they're so cute. These little apples are so cute. I don't know if I'm gonna have to thin. I'm gonna wait. I heard that it's self-thinning and it'll thin itself like sometime in June. We're in May. So if it doesn't do that, I might go through the tree and maybe leave like 2 or 3 apples per spur. But like this little spur only has 1, so that would be perfect. But this little spur has 3. Okay, so that's okay. This little spur here has 3, 4, so maybe get rid of 1 or 2. And here's a little spur comes off from the branch. It's about like an inch, and that's where it'll bloom, and that's where it'll produce its fruit. This one has 2, so we'll see how much it's gonna try to hold on to. But yeah, exciting that I'm gonna get apples this year, hopefully, if it doesn't like go crazy and drop everything. And then back there, that's fairly new. It's only been there for maybe 1 season, 1 year, a few months. It's the pineapple guava. I had a really big one, but unfortunately I had to remove it when they built the block wall. So I got a new one. This is a seedling citrus. It's like a hybrid of the trifoliate orange and an orange. So I think it's a citrange. That's what I think. I think I'm gonna graft. I want to graft another variety on top. So I'm gonna let it grow, and then I'm gonna try to graft on top. I want to try to get a hold of like Bloom Sweet Scion to have a Bloom Sweet there. I'm not really good at grafting, but I've had 1 successful graft. It's actually on this tree. This is a Fuyu Persimmon. The whole tree is a Fuyu Persimmon, but this is a graft. This one here, oops, from here to there, this is a graft. I did graft it here. You can see the scion. This is the original. And it's an early jewel American persimmon. So we have an American persimmon graft onto this Fuyu. That's the only graft I've ever had success with. But I've only attempted grafting like once, or like two, 3 times. So 1 out of 3. That's not that bad. And then we have the crabapple. The crabapple. There you can see it. Looking pretty. It almost died. My dogs almost killed it a year or 2 ago. Before they had their dog run, they would try to kill my trees. Putting on some nice growth. This is the Whitney crabapple, and I needed this because this needs a pollinator, and a crabapple is a good pollinator for almost any apple. And we have just a little cluster of crab apples. I had 5, I took 1 off already, so it now has 4. I think I might keep those 4 because I don't know how big they're gonna get. They should be pretty small because it is a crab apple. So yeah, it's alive and it's looking really pretty. Let's see, there's the wall, 6 feet, so I don't know, it's like 4 feet, 4.5 feet. Then we have the side yard. We have some figs in containers. We have a quince, and I removed all of the fruit because I really wanted to concentrate its energy on branching out and creating a nice structure and a nice canopy. It always sets fruit. It's very reliable, nice big beautiful quince fruit. and it always sets a lot. So I always do thin it and maybe keep a few. But this year I decided I was gonna get rid of all the fruit and just let it focus its energy on growing a nice structure and beautiful branches and, you know, leaves and branches. And it's growing some nice branches here. You can see all that new growth. It's about 6 feet tall. And there it is. But yeah, I did remove a lot of fruit. Lots and lots of little baby quins. It's really pretty. The new growth is like this like white, silvery color. It's fuzzy. And then it matures into this beautiful dark green. So this is my my tree. Here I have another variety of pomegranate. It's been in the ground a few months and I forgot the name of it. I think it's pink satin. It's supposed to be like a lighter pink pomegranate variety, and it's supposed to be non-staining. That's what caught my attention because I don't like the staining. I don't like the mess of the wonderful. So it's very little. I need to clean the weeds. See, wherever there's moisture, you get all these weeds. And this is new. It's a pawpaw. I'm trying this again. I've tried it twice before and I failed, but it wasn't because of my climate. It is too hot, so I am using this shade cloth over this pretty nice tomato cage. The cold is not a problem at all. It is a deciduous tree, but the heat of the summer here in the desert, it is a lot, especially for a baby tree. So we're gonna shade it for a few years and then let it acclimate to our summers. Yeah, this is I forgot the variety name. If I remember, I'll let you know. Wabash. So yeah, the other 2 times that I failed was because the very first time was because I had no knowledge and I just took a tiny little baby plant and put it in the middle of the yard with no protection in the middle of summer, and it just cooked. The second time, my dogs literally ate the whole little baby tree down to below the graft point. So that was not my fault. Like the avocados was the climate. That was just more challenging. And in these containers, I had these empty containers, so I put a Anaheim pepper and a hot banana pepper. They were empty and I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to waste the containers or time, so I put those in. Those were easy to put in. Here we have a male pistachio, the little one. That's the female, the big one. So you need a male and a female to get fruit. So that's a pistachio nut. This has only been in the ground a few months. It did right before winter. I think I put it in the fall. That's what it looks like now. And this one has been through 2 winters, so like a year and a half maybe. Going on its 2nd year. It's got beautiful leaves, like these big glossy leaves. It's a very pretty tree. Very, very pretty tree. Look at these leaves. They're beautiful. Here's my hand. Look at these big, beautiful, glossy leaves. So I'm thinking it's not only gonna be, you know, wonderful because of the nuts. Pistachio nuts are very good. We love them here in my house. And my kids love them, and but it's also going to be a nice shade tree. very pretty tree, like a very ornamental, so it'll be a nice tree once it gets bigger. There it is. It's up above 6 feet because the wall is 6 feet, so it's a little bit over 6 feet tall, maybe 7 feet. And then here we have, I transplanted this bush. I've had it growing in another container, but now I'm growing it in this container. It's a little taller. My mom gave me this a few years ago, and so it's like the only rose I have in my property. But I'm starting to get into roses, so I might have like a little section of my garden, like a little rose garden, maybe here. Like just start growing roses here, put some chairs and stuff, like a little tiny little corner of rose bushes. Aren't these beautiful? They're so pretty. I love the color. We got a little cluster here, another one going here, another one here. And then we have my second plum tree. This is the what variety? It's a yellow plum. It's the Shiro. That's the name of the variety. It's a yellow plum. Very, very, very productive. It is like 3 times as productive as the Santa Rosa. It like the blooms on this in the spring, like in the early spring, is just beautiful. And look at all these plums, and I've thinned this so much already. But look underneath here, like if you look underneath, there's so many plums. So many. I might have to go through this a couple more times. I'm gonna see how much it's gonna self-thin and then go through it. But like, you don't see them unless you get close because they're green right now and they're like underneath. But there's a lot of plums on here. Let me see if I can get a shot from underneath. Here. You see that? How old is this tree? Maybe 3 years? Don't remember. There it is. So you can see like where the darker leaves, like at this level is where I pruned it, right at the level of the wall. And then this is all new growth, all these branches. So it's like I pruned it here in the winter. So like 1.5 feet of new growth, maybe, since spring, when it came out of dormancy. Then I have another little citrus tree, but this is a seedling. This is also a yuzu, a cold hardy variety. It did really well. I think it did better than the other 2 that are grafted, with as far as like dealing with the winter. But maybe because it's got a block wall here, like a 2 feet away, and then another block wall there, so maybe it's radiating heat. Maybe it's the microclimate. It's got this evergreen here and this big pine tree up above, so maybe it's just more protected. But it did really well, and it's a little baby, so I'm excited about that. Here we have another pawpaw, and we have 2. I have one here in this cage, and then another one in that cage. And I did the cages because I wanted to, my idea was to shade them and protect them, because the problem here is our summer. But this area is naturally pretty shady. You can see the shadow running like that. So it's naturally pretty shaded because of this big pine tree. So I purposely planted them here because I figured it would be a nice, they do like some shade when they're little, and then they want to grow into full sun. So this is the mango variety. It's late, it just barely has a little bit of growth. And then that one over there is a seedling. That is a seedling. It did get beat up by the wind a little bit. You can see the leaves are torn, and that's wind damage. That is a little cutting I took from a tree in my uncle's house. It's a fig cutting. It's like a black variety, and I don't know the actual name of the variety, but it's a dark fig with like red interior, like a berry fig. And then this is my Seedling Loquat. Isn't it beautiful? It's getting big. Compared to the champagne, this is it is a seedling. I don't know like the variety of the parent where the seed came from, but I'm thinking gold nugget. But like these leaves are so big, the wind tears them. It gets really windy here. That it is really pretty. Look at these, look at this leaf. It's huge, beautiful, huge, glossy leaves. Let's see. The other variety, the grafted variety, the champagne, has little tiny, skinny, long leaves. These are huge and chunky leaves. I don't have any fruit. I hear seedlings take a long time to fruit, but it is beautiful. If this thing never produces fruit, I don't really care. It's just so beautiful, and it's an evergreen, so it brings some color and like winter interest to the yard. In the winter, when everything else is like sleeping and it looks dead, this is still pretty and green. So, I like to sit here because it's nice and shady. But there's my loquat, and I love loquats. I hope one day this produces fruit. There's the other trees. That's the other corner of the yard where the Manzanilla is, the olive, back there. This is like my little shaded area of the yard. This is like a nice place to relax in the summer because it's so hot here. But yeah, look at how pretty this tree is. This might be one of the prettiest trees I have in the backyard. But the wind does beat it up. It would be prettier. Like you see, it tore a piece here. But that's it. So we have quite a bit of fruit already set on the trees, and I think this video is super long. Oh my god. I talk a lot. Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the video. Wait, one more tree. These are my potted fig trees in containers. This is my favorite, the Violet de Bordeaux. It's a small fig, but it's delicious. It's purple, dark fig, like a purple color. And the interior is like bright red, and it has like a berry flavor. It's small but delicious, and it does normally give me like 2 crops. So this is like the first crop, and then it'll crop again. But it's my favorite, Violet de Bordeaux, in a container. That one I'm gonna get rid of because it's not a good variety for my climate, for this area. It produces its figs really late, and they don't have time to mature, and they never mature, and it's just not a good choice. So if you're in the high desert, I'm in Victorville, this is not what you want to grow. What's the variety? It's a white Genoa. Not a good fig for me. I'm gonna give it another chance. This is its last chance to produce, or it's out of here. And then we have one more. This one is a good one. 2. No fruit yet. It's got big leaves. It does get damaged by the wind too. And this one is a black variety. What is it called? Don't remember. Let me see. Blackjack. So this is the blackjack variety. It's in a container. Good one. I like this one, but it's not as good as the Violet de Bordeaux, but it's good. It's good. I want a white variety, so I'm gonna get rid of that one and get another variety of some sort of white variety of fig. All right, this video is super long. I'm going to end the video now. So yeah, we got I'm excited about this season, and I'm excited. So this is going to be the first one to ripen its fruit. So I'm thinking June, July, we're going to have apricots, followed by plums a few weeks later, or a month later, and then followed by peaches in August, September. And then we get into the fall, we start getting jujubes and probably apples, then persimmons, then pomegranates. In October, November, we get the October, November, December, that's like the fall fruit, like the palms and Fuyu persimmons, palms, apples, because I have a late variety. And then that'll be it. Oh, and then we get citrus. Like in the winter, or like December. So yeah, this is my potted citrus. I don't know, I like them here because it makes the porch look nice, but I don't know if they're getting enough sun. I don't really care about like the tart varieties but I do want this one to get enough sun because I want it to be sweet, the orange. The others are like tart, so I don't care about these two. That one's getting enough sun. It gets morning sun, and that one gets afternoon sun. This video is super long. I gotta go. Bye.